Okay, we have now in problem 19 involving stock options. We have now the option to buy shares of stocks in the company, usually given to the executives. So here the company on April 1 approved a stock option plan whereby each of the top 4 executives of the new companies could purchase up to 20,000 shares of Fermat stock at 15 per share. And on December 1, in requirement number 1, the stock rises to 26.50 per share. So we now compute first for the value of the option. The 20,000 shares on December 1 with a stock price of 26.50 and on April 1 it's only at 15. So there is an increase in the value of the price by 11.50. And you multiply that by 20,000 shares. So the value of the option for the difference of 230,000. That's the value of the option to each executive. Discuss some of the advantages and disadvantages of the Fermat stock option plan. For the advantages, ownership of the stock may encourage the executives to take a longer-term perspective, and it may make them conscious of the overuse of perquisites. And the disadvantages, often executives exercise the stock options and immediately sell the stock. In this case, the executives are not owners of the firm and have no more incentive to act like owners than they did before the options were exercised. Now we go to problem 6-25. I think this was added to you in your assignment. Problem 6-25 with regards to transfer pricing. And requirement number 5, 6-25 or problem 25. Requirement number 1, what is the minimum transfer price for the transistor division and what is the maximum transfer price of the transistor for the systems division. Now, one is the buying division and the other one is the selling division. So the minimum transfer price is the market price, that's 3.45 per unit, and the maximum is still 3.45. Since market price exists for the transistor used by the systems division, the minimum and the maximum transfer prices are the same. Assume the systems division is able to purchase a large quantity of transistors from an outside source or at 2.75 per unit. Further assume that the transistor division has excess capacity. Can the transistor division meet this price? Now, yes, since the variable cost of the transistor is 2.0 or $2. That's the sum of direct materials, direct labor, and the variable overhead of $2 or 2.75 the cost per unit minus the fixed overhead. And number 3, the board and systems divisions have negotiated a transfer price of $11 per printed circuit board. Discuss the impact of this transfer price what it will have on each division. So the negotiated price of $11 provides profit. So it's $11 even in number 3. It provides profit for both the board and systems division. The board division realizes a profit of $1.70 per board. So that's 11 minus 930. For the difference, so that's now a reduction in cost. We have 11 as we have 12 minus 11. That will be a reduction in the cost of the systems division. Should be noted that the $12 is not a true market price because this particular board is not sold externally. Thus, the board division is not necessarily foregoing profit by not selling externally at its regular markup. So that's now problem 25. Then another problem I gave you for your assignment is problem 27. Okay, so we have now problem 27 included. Okay, so what are the requirements of problem 27? We have bonuses and stock options. Advise Lawana on the relative merits of the Shasta offer. Lawana graduated with a major in accounting 5 years ago, obtained a position with a well-known professional services firm upon graduation, and has become one of their outstanding performers. In the course of her work, she has developed numerous contacts with business firms in the area. One of them, Shasta Incorporated, recently offered her a position as head of their financial services division. The offer includes a salary of $50,000 per year, annual bonuses of 1% of divisional operating income, and a stock option plan for 10,000 shares of Shasta stock to be exercised at $15 per share in 2 years. Last year, the Financial Services Division earned $1,110,000, and this year, it is budgeted to earn $1.6 million. Shasta stock has increased in value at the rate of 16% per year over the past 5 years. Lawana currently earns 65,000. So meaning her current salary is $65,000. Now, if Lawana accepts the new position, she will earn a salary of 66,000 a year, including the bonus. So the salary is only 50,000 and the bonus is 16,000, which is 1% of the profit stated. The budgeted earnings of 1.6 million. So 1% of that is 16,000. A month bonus will be given to Lawana based on 1% of the profit for the coming year. After 2 years, if Shasta stock rises at the same rate as it has over the past 5 years, Lawana will be able to exercise her stock option and realize a gain of the following. The price of stock in 2 years, it will become 15. in lieu of 14. So in other words, you have to determine her bonus for for the month. In year 1, after 2 years, just the stock rises if it will rise at the same rate as it has over the past 5 years. She will be able to exercise her stock option and realize the gain of the following. So the price of the stock in 2 years will be equal to 15 this year, and we multiply it by 1.16 next year and 1.16 the year after times 10,000 shares. So it will be 201,840. That will be the price of the stock 2 years after. Then the exercise price of that stock will be at 15,000, and we multiply that by the current market price, no? So we have the exercise price of the stock option. So we now get the gain of 51,840. Lawana will clearly be better off financially right away. Her salary plus bonus with Shasta is 1,000 higher than her current salary. Ang iyang current is only 65,000. In addition, it's the increase in net income for the financial services division can be sustained. She stands to make considerably more through bonuses in the coming years. The stock option exercisable in 2 years also gives Lawana the potential to make another profit. Now, on the other side, on the downside, Lawana here, with the stock option exercisable in 2 years, that will give Lawana the potential to make another profit of 51,840 in the form of gain on the increase in the value of the stock. On the downside, Lawana's current salary is reasonably secured. So it's a flat amount of 65,000 without any other similar to this ng mga incentives. Now, the Shasta position, since Shawana has a lower guaranteed salary and risk of bonuses and option plans. So we have now the current salary of 51,840. The downside again, Lawana's current salary is reasonably secure. The Shasta position is a lower guaranteed salary and the risk of bonuses. Kaya ang iyang guaranteed salary with Shasta is only 50,000. However, the risk of bonuses and option values may not be realized if the financial services industry experiences a downturn. Lawana will suffer no matter how well she personally performs. So in other words, it's questionable with regards to bonuses and options because they may be subject to decreases. The final decision rests on Lawana's assessment of the risk versus reward, the two of the two positions. She should also consider the risk of remaining her present position. What are her prospects for making partner at the profession services firm? So in other words, we have now the decision will rest on all, will depend upon Shawana. Next, we go to the other problem I gave you for your assignment in the book is number 28. Okay, so we now go to number 28 is still setting transfer prices, the market price versus the full cost. So now we go to number 28 with the four requirements. Okay, with four requirements. One, compute the firm-wide contribution margin associated with Part 4CM and Model 7AC. Also compute the contribution margin earned by each division. So we have now the contribution margin, as we know, is the difference between the selling price and the variable cost. Now, the company manufactures seating and the air conditioning units in its 6 divisions. One division, the components division, produces electronic components that can be used by the other 5. All the components produced by the division, that's the components division, can be sold to outside customers. However, from the beginning, about 70% of its output has been used internally. The current policy requires that all internal transfers of components be transferred at full cost. Recently, Cynthia Busby, the new Chief Executive Officer of Ardmore, decided to integrate the transfer pricing to investigate, no? Cynthia Busby, the new Chief Executive Officer of Ardmore, decided to investigate the transfer pricing policy. She was concerned that the current method of pricing internal transfers might force divisions by divisional managers that would be suboptimal for the firm. As part of her inquiry, she gathered some information concerning Part 4CM used by the small AC division in its production of a window air conditioner model 7AC. The small AC division sells 10,000 units of model 7AC each year at unit market price of $58. Given current market conditions, this is the maximum price that the buying division. So we have now here the small AC division sells 10,000 units model 7AC each year with unit price 58, and we are given the current market conditions. This is the maximum price that the division can charge for model 7AC. The cost of manufacturing the air conditioner is computed as follows. So we have now Part 4CM used for model 7AC production. Then we have direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, with total unit cost of 54.45. The window unit is produced efficiently and no further reduction in manufacturing cost is possible. The manager of the components division indicated that he could sell 10,000 units. That's the division's capacity for this part of Part 4CM to outside buyers at 12 per unit. The small AC division would also buy the part from 12 for 12 from external suppliers. The following detail on the manufacturing cost of the component was provided. So we have now the total unit cost of 6.45. So we have now the contribution margin for the sales of part for CM. For sales, we have now 10,000 units multiplied by 6.45. Well, for model 7AC, that's the variable cost of 6.45 per unit, and then we add 23 for the initial direct material cost. So we now get the total. We also add 15 and 350 for the variable cost. In other words, we add initially we add 6.45. That's for the manufacturing cost of the component, and we add the variable cost. So we now get the total and multiply by 10,000 units. So we get 580,000. Then in requirement number 2, suppose that Cynthia Busby abolishes the current transfer pricing policy and gives divisions autonomy in setting transfer prices. Can you predict what transfer price of the manager of the components division will sell, and what should be the minimum transfer price for this part? So we have now the transfer price could be the market price that's equal to 12, being the minimum price for the components division and the maximum price for the small AC division. Given the new transfer pricing policy, predict how this will affect the production decision for model 7AC of the manager of the small AC division. How many units of part 4 CM will the manager of the small AC division purchase? Their efficiency as externally. So we have now the minimum price for the components division is the maximum price for the small AC division. Number 3, unless the manager of the small AC division is able to increase the price of the model as 7AC, will continue production and will not purchase any of the component. The full cost of producing the window unit will increase from 54 to actually we have the amount of the full cost of producing the window unit will increase from 54.45 to 60, a cost greater than the current selling price. So it will increase from 54.45 to 60, a cost that's greater than the current market selling price. And number 4, given the new transfer price set by the components division, in your answer to requirement 3, how many units of 4 CM will be sold externally? So we have now all the 10,000 units of part 4 CM will be sold externally at the market price of $12. So that's the answer to number 4. And the last problem I gave you is number 35. So let's take up the last problem before we dismiss. Now number 35, we have a case on ROI and residual income. A case on ROI for ethical considerations. So in other words, aside from solving our problems, no, here we have also to give attention to ethical considerations. Now again, problem 6-35 has 5 requirements. 1. Explain why Fred Olsen turned down the proposal to add the capability of producing a crimping and welding iron. Provide computations to support your reasoning. So we have now great care companies specializes in producing products for personal grooming. The company operates 6 divisions, including the hair products division. Each division is treated as an investment center. Managers are evaluated and rewarded on the basis of the ROI. So we have now on the basis of the ROI. Now, managers are evaluated and rewarded on the basis of the ROI performance. Only those managers who produce the best ROI are selected to receive bonuses and to fill higher level managerial position. Fred Olsen, manager of the hair products division, has always been one of the top performers. For the past 2 years, Fred's division has provided the amount has produced the largest ROI. Last year, the division earned in operating income 2.56 million in employed average operating assets valued at 16 million. Fred is pleased with his division's performance and has been told that if the division does well this year, he will be in line for a headquarters position. For the coming year, Fred's division has been promised new capital totaling 1.5 million. Any of the capital not invested by the division will be invested to earn the company's required rate of 9%. After some careful investigation, the marketing and engineering staff recommended that the division invest in equipment that could be used to produce a crimping and welding iron, a product currently not produced by the division. The cost of the equipment was estimated at 1.2 million. The division's marketing manager estimated operating earnings from the new line to be 156,000 per year. After receiving the proposal and receiving the potential effects, Fred turned it down. He then wrote a memo to corporate headquarters indicating that his division would not be able to employ the capital in any new projects within the next 8 to 10 months. He did note, however, that he was confident that his marketing and engineering staff would have a project ready by the end of the year. At that time, would like to have access to the capital. So again, requirement number 1, explain why Fred Olsen turned down the proposal to add the capability of producing the crimping and welding iron, and we have to provide the computations. Fred turned down the proposed investment as the ROI from the investment is only 13% compared to the current ROI of 16%. So that's only for 156,000. That will be the estimated operating earnings. And the cost of the equipment is 1.2 million compared to the current ROI of 16%, dividing the operating income with the operating assets of 16 million. If the iron is produced, then the division's ROI would decrease to only 15.79%. That includes the estimated net profit in the numerator, and in the denominator, we include the added capital. Then in number two, compute the effect that the new product line would have on the profitability of the firm as a whole. Should the division have produced the crimping and welding iron? So the iron should have been manufactured, since the company's income would have increased by 48,000. That's 156,000, the actual profit multiplied by the desired rate of return. That's normally at 9%. So at 9%, and we multiply it by the added capital of 1.2 million. Since it's stated that any of the capital not invested by the division will be invested to earn the company's required rate of return, which is 9%. So the company could have earned additional profit of 48,000 after deducting the required return from the estimated profit. In number three, suppose that the firm used residual income as measured divisional performance. Do you think Fred's decision might have been different, and why? Yes, the project has residual income of 48,000 computed in number two, and accepting it would have increased the division's residual income. Number four, explain why a firm like Great Care might decide to use both residual income and return on investment as measures of performance. Residual income encourages managers to invest in projects that increase a firm's income, decreasing the likelihood that profitable investments will be turned down. ROI encourages managers to select those investments that provide the greatest return per dollar invested. ROI provides a relative measure of performance, making comparison among the divisions possible. Did Fred display ethical behavior when he turned down the investment? In discussing this issue, consider why he refused to allow the investment. Since ROI is the main performance measure, Fred was not willing to accept profitable investment because it would decrease this division's ROI. Facing a possible promotion, he chose to maintain the division's high ROI rather than earn extra profits for the company. The decision was motivated by self-interest. Some may argue that the decision was encouraged by the company's reward system. This argument, however, is weak, since it's virtually certain that the intent of higher management is to reward productive behavior, not manipulative behavior. From this perspective, the decision was wrong and thus unethical, because it was more of manipulative behavior. However, Fred might argue that the true objective of the firm is to encourage and reward high return on investment. They may be able to develop an acceptably high ROI project in the next 8 to 10 months. Thus, not accepting the immediate project may give him the ability to invest in a more profitable project later on. So that ends our discussions of decentralization, chapter 6. Okay? By tomorrow, we are going to begin with the next group report. All right? Any questions?
None na siguro, ma'am.